Hi, first grade. Today, I have a writing lesson for you today, and we are going to be talking about editing our writing, and that means fixing it up. So, we've done this before, and when you finish a story, remember from when we were in school, we had to do that. At the end of every writing we did, we had to go back and read, touching every word just to check to make sure that we wrote every word that we were expecting. Also checking to make sure that we had spaces so that people could read words. So we're going to go down through a checklist. An editing checklist just gives us an idea of the things that we really have to have in our writing. Did you make sure that you have spaces in your writing between your words so that you and other people can write it? I've given you a couple of word walls in the writing folder that you could use. And remember, checking the word wall is a good thing to make sure we're spelling words correctly. But if we're not sure and we don't have a word wall, we can sound out and tap out all of the sounds in the word. I spelled tricky words the best I can. I wrote letters for most of the sounds. I expect you can get almost every sound in there. I used ending punctuation and capital letters to start the sentences. So ending punctuation would be our periods, our exclamation marks. We may have questions, especially if we have dialogue in our stories. Capital letters need to be at the beginning of every sentence. Remember when we're telling a thought. I can read my writing, and my friend can read most of my writing without my help. Your friend would probably be mom or dad right now. Can they read your writing without having to ask you every other word? That would be a great sign. And then this is one that we've talked about a little bit, but since we are writing realistic fiction and we have characters, I started my character's name with a capital letter. Okay, and that would include any pets, any animals in the story that have a name. So you wouldn't capitalize the word dog, but if the dog's name was Ruff, Ruff would have to be capitalized. Okay, so I told you I was going to share a couple of good writings with you today. So I want to show you Annabelle's writing here. Annabelle, we're just going to read her writing, and then we're going to go back and we're going to see what she would be able to do to edit her writing. One cloudy day, Violet was going on an errand. She lived in the country. All of a sudden, she saw a little newborn puppy. Violet thought, I don't want that puppy to get hurt in the... Let's see. I'm not sure what in the what. Let's see. She took the puppy into her room. Here, I'll put you in a box, and I'll give you my smallest blanket. She did a good job at spelling some words in here. The puppy was white with gray smudges. She named it Cloudy. Dinner. Did you see that? Her mom called. Guess what? I found a puppy today. I didn't want it to get hurt in the storm. Oh, she kind of left that word out earlier. Violet, that's nice of you to try to save the puppy. But me and your father don't want a dog. But she's so cute. You can keep her until her mom comes. Okay, Mom. Violet, please go in your room and get your pajamas. Violet thought, I really want to keep the puppy. How will I get my mom to like dogs? Go to bed, Violet, her mom called. She has an excellent story here. Really doesn't have an ending, but I think she probably could go back and revise and add an ending in. But we're going to take a look at a few things that were on that checklist. Let's go back up to the beginning of her story. And one of the things on the checklist was capital letters at the beginnings of sentences and at the beginning of names. So let's take a look. So she's going to have to work on a capital letter at the beginning of a sentence. She's also going to have to look at capital letter in names, okay? Now, if I look, she's got some periods here at the beginning. But remember, every time we have a period, the next letter of our sentence in our beginning of a sentence should be a capital letter. So she's going to have to really work on those capital letters. She also had some great dialogue in here, but she didn't use quotation marks to show that it was dialogue. Remember last week we talked about how we could use those little quotation marks. I'm trying to figure out where my camera is. Those quotation marks, those 2 marks at the beginning and at the end of a sentence, okay, or at the end of what someone says. So let's take a look. She's got a great story here. I can read lots of words, okay? But she probably needs to go back and do some editing, especially for those capital letters, okay? I have another story for you today. This is Nora, not our Nora, but it is a Nora story. One day, Rosa was at home and Rosa was painting. It was Rosa's favorite thing to do, and Rosa said, "I love painting." Rosa painted a picture of a tree and grass. It was a beautiful painting. But then the baby sister came in Rosa's room and messed up the painting. And Rosa said no. Then Rosa's mom came and said, "What is going on?" And Rosa said, "My baby sister messed up my picture." Then Rosa thought harder until Rosa knew what Rosa knew what Rosa thought that her little sister wanted to paint too, and she did. The end. She did a great job with her capital letters at the beginnings of sentences. I'll show you. So she has capital letter at the beginning of a sentence. She also has capital letter at the beginning of a name. Now, if we go down through here, one day Rosa was at home and Rosa was painting. She forgot a period here. So this would be period and then a capital. It was Rosa's favorite thing to do. And Rosa said, do you see where she has her quotation marks? She has her quotation marks like Rosa said this whole thing. Do, and Rosa said, "I love painting." But her actual words were only, "I love painting." So we would need quotation marks here rather than at the beginning of the line. So I think Nora is just learning how to write with quotation marks because we see that same thing happening a little bit further down. She uses quotation marks, but look, she starts at the beginning of the line and at the end of the line instead of exactly around the character's words. Okay, and we see that same thing. Okay, remember, when we use quotation marks in our writing, we need to make sure that those dialogue marks are just before the first word and just after the last word that a character says. So friends, going back to that editing checklist, and putting spaces between your words, checking a word while spelling those tricky words the best you can, listening for those sounds, tapping them out, using end punctuation and capital letters, and making sure that you can read your writing and maybe have mom or dad check it too. And make sure, since we're writing about characters, you want to make sure that those character names, the person that you have in your story, the animals, the pets that you have in your story, that you're making sure that you have a capital letter at the beginning of those. Hey, friends, we will be talking about writing with dialogue and finishing up some realistic fictions. Last week we talked about maybe can you write another book in your series. So now we're going through, you should be finishing up one or two of your realistic fiction books so that you can make a decision. What am I going to do next? Am I going to go and write another story about this character, which would be a series character? Or do I not really like this character and I want to make up a new character? Okay, those are all great things for you to be thinking about in writing this week. Hey, have a great week. I'll see you soon.